Do most office jobs pay people to do nothing? I feel the same. Just started an IT apprentice role and I feel like a lot of my days are like yours. I try not to take the pee and read up on stuff when it's quiet, but I'll complete the tiniest tasks and get compliments on my efforts. Yet in 2020 I was breaking my back as a delivery driver for retail on crap money. That's IT. The higher you go, the less you actually do. To be fair, with experience and skill, in support at least, you are there available for when they really need it. Yes, that's how many of the jobs work. No, it's not stressful to me. Just be friendly and people will keep you around. Also, like the other guy said, watch Office Space. In a previous office job, I once read The Pillars of the Earth in 4 days. I quit after 6 months. Hardly any work to do, even when I asked, and I was forced to be at my desk from 8 to 5:30. They would, of course, notice if I left at 5:29, but not that I was sitting there doing nothing. I've been feeling this exact thing. Left my grocery store job for a really nice office job getting paid 4x more for 10x less work. I'm so sure that I would have actually died from stress if I never left my old job. I think it really depends on the job. Office job is a very vague and generic term. Accountants, consultants, developers, auditors, product owners are all types of office jobs that require lots of work. But I'm sure the pay will match that work and the skill required to do them will be higher than less intense jobs. I started a new job recently too. I literally work maybe a total of 2 hours out of 8. The rest I'm either finding things to clean, or I'm sitting down waiting for a customer. It feels so lazy. My kid is working from home for $85,000 a year but hasn't worked more than 5 or 6 hours a week since April of last year. One of the problems I have as a manager, particularly when working with early career new employees, is estimating how long it takes for them to get proficient at their tasks. Particularly when I'm pulled away by my primary duties and don't check in as often as I should. I invariably either overestimate and give them too much work or underestimate and don't give them enough, especially during the first few months. I do notice, however, when they put in the time to do it well, learn about the overall processes they support, and ask for additional taskings. It's part of the feedback during our weekly one-on-one meetings, at least for my direct reports. I don't mind an employee who shows up on time, does what's asked of them, and goes home at the end of the day. If the minimums weren't good enough, they wouldn't be called the minimums. They get a satisfactory rating during annual performance reviews and their jobs are safe. The ones who go above and beyond, however, get rated higher, are eligible for more bonuses and are more competitive for promotions. Corporate world is less physically taxing and there are fewer angry customers to deal with, unless you're in the customer service part of the company. So, life is a bit easier. That said, if you're only responding to few messages and doing basic projects, some of your work may be ripe for consolidation, automation or outsourcing. If this is something you want to do, try to find projects to increase your value to the company. For balance, there's a whole sub called R&2 work that suggests you don't do more than the minimum unless you get paid well enough. I transferred from my London company to Colorado on a 2-year contract. They wouldn't honor my UK contract which entitled me to 6 weeks paid vacation guaranteed by law here in the UK, look it up, and limited sick days, and I would get 6 weeks maternity leave straight away when my girlfriend had our child. She gets 2 years maternity leave with her UK contract. My UK contract also included 2 weeks paid leave for my honeymoon and 10 public holidays all off. The Colorado HR women didn't believe the contract was real and said they're lucky if they even get 5 paid vacation days off a year. I worked about 30% more hours in the US and everyone would work unpaid overtime as they were scared if they didn't perform they would be replaced due to the US poor labor laws. I lasted 3 months before returning to the UK. Coincidentally, a few Americans moved to our London office after finding out our benefits, which are actually worker rights guaranteed by law in the UK. Please note, I'm not crapping on the US, but trying to let you know you can actually have a work-life balance and worker rights in pretty much any other developed country in the world. Okay, I thought it was just me. I'm a software engineer. I hated it before. Commute early for long to just appear there, have lunch, continue the day and commute again without doing anything. But since working from home, I don't mind it a bit. I get much time for reading, piano, and watching anime. Gotta say, after WFH in my IT job, my 10% workload makes it feel like I'm in such limbo. I'm not doing anything, but I don't feel like I can just go to the zoo or take a vacation. I'm working right now. Got hired a few weeks ago. Haven't even started training yet. Sometimes my manager will be like, I read over this topic today and after 30 minutes I'll be done and do my own thing. I see people on Netflix, on their phones, etc. I listen to podcasts while I read random topics that sound interesting, waiting for HR to give me my employee ad so I can start training. It's real hard work. Depends on the job. I've worked in finance, energy, and our jobs are soul sucking, constant 10-15 hour days, but we get paid pretty well, so there's that. My experience is that office jobs either involve about 2-3 hours of meaningful work per day, or you are actually doing the job of 6 people and never have a moment's rest. It fully depends on the job. If you're just doing basic corporate office work, then yeah, probably. I work as an engineer in an office setting and we absolutely have to get work done. The average American worker, in an 8 hours workday, does on average approximately 2.5 hours of actual work. The 8-hour day/40-hour work week now serves to create a time shortage in your life, depriving you of your ability to explore passions, take time to create new hobbies and enforce consumerism. Just think, if you only had to work 8 hours a week for the wages you get, how much time would you have to learn to fix your own house, your car, learn to build a deck, learn to paint or create your own art, spend more time with your kids, explore nature daily instead of having to splurge on vacations to get a heavy dose of it at one time before going back to business as usual. Your, and mine, 8-hour work day is to keep you spending money on things you should be able to do yourself but don't have time done. This is an interesting theory that doesn't hold up because I work from home for that time and could be learning all of the things you mentioned, but instead I read Reddit. I can't speak for all as my current job is the only office job I've ever had, but I am constantly busy. I think it depends on the type of work you do for the office, what the business is. Hope that helps. Depends what you do. I end up working my ass off and then having minor existential crises when I realize it's all abstract and doesn't exist in real life. Yes, and everyone else will constantly talk about how busy they are. You'll feel imposter syndrome because you're not busy like they are, but they're lying. And eventually, you'll lie too and say you're busy, because it's just the thing you do. Honestly, I love it. I work sometimes, but a lot of times I read or play video games or watch TV. I'm pretty busy all day. When I started I had a different position within the same team and I didn't have very much work. I felt bad because I knew the rest of my team was working their buns off. Now I work constantly. Nope, not in my company. Everyone is stressed and doing overtime, without extra pay. There is way too much to do and not enough people to do it. Not sure what area you work in, but it sounds really nice and relaxing. I did data entry processing office job for a criminal background check company. It was one of my first jobs out of college. Full time, barely over minimum wage. The thing is, I focused on work only, hardly conversed with anyone unless spoken to first, and thought I could get ahead by doing a crap ton of work. Turns out, hardly anybody else was trying at the job or they just sucked at it. Over a few months, I ended up processing almost half the cases of a 10-person team, single-handedly. By my third month, only one person in the entire company was processing more than me. My team hated me because the new guy made them all look terrible at their jobs. My team leader hated me because I had higher education than her. I think she felt threatened. And my office manager hated me because I never participated in their BS social events and told them the $1 hour raise wasn't enough for the amount of work I did. I didn't last long there, but I learned that sometimes less is more. It's not always about doing the most or being the best worker. It's usually about finding a groove, figuring out where you fit into the machine, and doing your part while not stepping on toes. Compared to blue-collar and service jobs, yes, it's night and day different. Office jobs are easy as heck compared to them. It's honestly how office and government jobs mostly go. I used to do landscaping and work 10-12 hour days during spring, summer, and partially into fall. Then I got a good office job and my work stress went away. I wasn't tired, had time and money to do what I wanted. Now I got a great office job and it seems like I only work 2 hours a day. What I do is so easy that I'm surprised it's even a position. In my 20 years of office jobs, you're either paid a full day's work for like 45 minutes of work, or you're doing 16 hours worth of work for 6 hours of pay. No in between. I think this is a common experience, but it's not really that office jobs pay you to do nothing so much as retail and similar customer facing hard labor jobs is abusive and exhausting. You do that first, and you end up with a false idea in your mind of what that much work is worth. In reality, minutes wage jobs shouldn't be that exhausting. It's a misalignment of the reasonable baseline for what is normal. Yeah, office drones basically just take up space. As soon as they figure out a way to automate excessive coffee consumption and sexual harassment, that whole sector is doomed. Office jobs are different depending on what you're doing. I worked for a call center that would be crazy one day and all downtime the next. Worked at a state job and always had something to do because we were on a constant backlog because of the workload. But I much prefer office work over injuring myself doing physical labor or retail in-person sales. I'm way better at throwing on headphones and processing files than dealing with people. Just need to find a decent desk job somehow again now. This is common, and whatever you do, don't frick it up. I've read many stories like this. Opening your mouth will get you a lot more work for the same pay or only a little more. Enjoy your work-life balance. Where I work, the women in the office has so much crap to do. Taking care of all customers, all workers. She basically runs everything but still paid minimum wage because it's a job where you don't need many qualifications so they can always replace her. It is really sad that women is running the place yet she gets less than I do and she is my superior. WTF. I don't earn much and I am still a student, but I still think it's crazy she only gets minimum wage for running this place. Her superiors get the big chunk. Wish we had a union or something like that. The really nice part is that the higher you rise in the company, the less you actually do. I'm a vice president and spend large chunks of the day playing video games. The trick is to get an office job and just wait. Eventually everyone leaves and you get promoted. Stick around a couple decades and you, too, can be a CEO. This is simply untrue for almost all major companies. In almost all larger companies, your day will be full of meetings if you're somewhat higher up. You may be doing less actual work, but that doesn't mean you will have free time, but rather sit through meetings all day and maybe do 2-3 hours of actual work in the evening once everyone has gone home. It's split. Some roles are stupid with bad management and end up underutilizing workers. It's not a bad deal unless you're trying to grow and get better roles wages. Other roles have bad managers that result in crazy overwork. If you end up with a good manager and reasonable life-work growth balance, congrats, you found a place worth working for. Otherwise, I'd suggest using your spare time to set yourself up for a future working for yourself. Kinda yes. Today was Friday. I came in, got some coffee, used the restroom, and logged into my computer. Then I talked to my 3 co-workers until they decided to go do testing. This next part was hard. I had to input part numbers into a file and how much the parts cost. Oh, and the quantity. There were only 4 parts, but goodness, I'm used to 1 part at a time. Then it was lunch. After lunch, I spent 4, roughly, more like 1.5 hours testing. Now it's time to go home. I'm exhausted. I borrowed a friend's dog today and just chilled with it all day. Not every day is this slack, but it often is. WFH with COVID restrictions has made it a lot easier to do very little. However, I think the price we are paying is in the lack of career development. It feels like it at times. It feels like I sit in more meetings than doing real work some days. But it seems the higher up you go, the more meetings and fewer hours of actual work. From someone who's done physically taxing labor for most of his life, I freaking knew it. If it were possible, I have even less respect for my supervisor now. My previous job was like this. It seems fun at first, but then the idea of having minimal to do really weighed down on self-esteem. I really ended up wanting a job where I am actually busy, something to keep me stimulated. Every office job I've had has been easy compared to the BS of retail or warehouse. It's just paperwork or working with civilized clients. Different world. Can confirm. Just have to monitor the inbox and Skype. Some days I just spend hours cutting off my split ends. My hair has never been healthier. So I've been in sales and marketing for the past 10ish years, and I've learned this 100% depends on your manager. In the majority of my jobs there's been busier times and slower times, but honestly it was never anything too crazy and never anything more than 40 hours per week. In my last role doing marketing ops I was working my butt off, but I just switched to being a project manager and it's really chill. LOL, I'm still at the same company and make the exact same salary too. It's kinda crazy, but I guess that's just how they operate. Pretty much. I've been at my newest gig 2 months. Everyone else is always busy, always on the go. I thought I'd go in and hit the ground running. I haven't. I sit there and half the time try to look busy. I've told the boss I don't feel like I'm busy enough. I want to do more, but I have to work with others in order to do more. It's a vicious cycle. The boss has assured me numerous times that as long as I don't leave myself, I'm staying in to enjoy the not doing anything while I can. On Wednesday I worked from home cause the office was empty, everyone was off work or on site. I did the last bit of work at 12 PM, even took my time doing so, and then that was it. So I napped on company time. Worth it? In my opinion, yes. Over 10 years experience in office jobs. From customer services where I actually work maybe 4h a week, 9 to 5 job, to IT support and now application architect. I do absolutely nothing IMO and I get paid up to 10k USD a month. Oh, and I live in Eastern Europe. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.